Have you ever wanted to experience true fear while roaming the Commonwealth? Fear that a horde of the undead could be lurking around any corner, ready to overwhelm you? Fear that nowhere ever is truly safe? If you did, then this mods list is exactly what you are looking for. So recently, following the popularity of the Last of Us TV show, I decided to turn Fallout into a zombie apocalypse to capture the same intense feeling that the show had. Now obviously you could just go on ahead and play the games, however if you are a diehard Fallout fan like me, you may want Fallout 4 to feel a lot like the show and the games. Now Fallout 4 is already very similar to The Last of Us in a few ways. Most notably, they both share Boston as a main location. However, aside from that, the two games don't have that much in common, but with the right mods, I was able to transform Fallout 4 into a more Last of Us themed experience, making the game feel darker, more immersive, and a lot more interesting overall. Now, this mods list primarily focuses on transforming the environment and enemies, adding terrifying new creatures to the world that could be lurking around any corner, and turning Boston into an overgrown, decaying wasteland, a far cry from the vanilla look of the game. Now, whether you're a fan of The Last of Us or not, you're here to change your game into the ultimate zombie experience, and in today's video, I will be going over the top 15 mods that turn your game into a zombie apocalypse. So, without further ado, let's get straight into this video. So the first thing we'll be going over is environmental mods. So in The Last of Us, the environment appears to be very green and overgrown, and while some spots in Fallout are overgrown, there isn't much greenery around the Commonwealth. To fix this, the first mod we'll be taking a look at is CRP Overgrowth. Now I previously went over this mod in another video and it fits the theme perfectly for this video too. Now, CRP Overgrowth aims to add a ton of foliage to the map in places like buildings and the roads, and will make the world feel overgrown with all different kinds of plants taking over. Now, this is a really good mod, and I really enjoy playing with it in my playthrough. However, because of how much foliage it adds to the map, it can be a little overwhelming at times and rough on the graphics card. Because of this, I added an alternative, which is where our second mod will come into play. So, the second mod we'll be taking a look at is Fallout Coniferous Revival. Now, this mod aims to do something similar to CRP Overgrowth, adding a lot of foliage to the wasteland. However, this mod does so in a reduced manner. It also adds a different type of foliage to the map, making it look a lot different from CRP Overgrowth. Now, I recommend this mod to anyone who has a lower end system or wants to have a different kind of scenery from CRP Overgrowth. The third mod we'll be taking a look at is Realistic Roads. Now, this mod aims to add a simple retouch to the roads around the Commonwealth, making them feel more like a zombie apocalypse happened to the world and not a nuclear one. Now, this mod is a really good addition to the mods list. However, CRP Overgrowth already changes the road textures, so I wouldn't use this with that mod. But overall, Realistic Roads is a really good mod, and I definitely recommend you install it. The fourth mod on the list we'll be taking a look at is Fireflies. Now, all jokes aside, this mod aims to add fireflies to the environment, making the world feel more alive in nature and less empty. And if you pair this mod with an EMB, it will make the environment look really nice, especially during sunsets. Now, speaking of making nature feel more lively, our fifth mod we'll be taking a look at is Mutant Menagerie. Now, Mutant Menagerie is a mod that aims to add higher quantities of wildlife to the world, also adding new ones too. Now, while exploring the world, you'll run into more animals, making the world feel a lot more lively, and overall it is a pleasant addition to Fallout 4. While on the topic of adding new creatures to the game, the next mod we'll be taking a look at on the list is a mod called Black Summer. Now, Black Summer is the first zombie-related mod we'll be taking a look at on this list, and this mod aims to add reanimation after death to people throughout the Commonwealth. Now, once you've killed an NPC, they'll reanimate and attack the nearest person in attempts to kill them. And overall, this is a really good mod, bringing zombies to the world and will make taking out NPCs a lot more riskier. In our number 7 spot, we'll be taking a look at a mod called The Running Dead. Now, this mod is pretty simple and aims to add more spawn points around the Commonwealth of ghouls, so when exploring certain areas of the Commonwealth, there will be an increased risk of running into a horde when exploring. And overall, this mod will make you take extra measures when exploring and is a perfect zombie mod. In our number 8 spot, we will be taking a look at a mod called FallEvil. Now, this mod is also pretty simple and basically aims to retexture ghouls, making them look a lot more like zombies than feral ghouls. Now, this mod does this by adding all different kinds of clothes to ghouls and also makes them look as if they have turned recently. And overall, this is a very nice mod and makes ghouls feel like proper zombies finally. In our number 9 spot, we have War of the Commonwealth. Now, War of the Commonwealth is a customizable mod that adds conflict to the world, and while yes, in base Fallout you will find groups that are hostile, this mod aims to make them more offensive and more likely to attack you when you're exploring places they genuinely don't spawn. Now with this mod, you may find yourself being attacked by entire platoons of enemies, forcing you to run or fight them off, and on top of that, these groups of enemies may even fight each other when they come in contact, making for some pretty cool battles to either watch or join in. Now, when comparing this mod to all the conflict that happens in The Last of Us, this is a really good mod and I definitely recommend you check it out. Now, let's move on from enemies and more so focus on weapons. In our number 10 spot, we have Modern Weapon Replacer All-in-One. Now, this mod is going to aim to replace every weapon in the Commonwealth with a custom one that you can download from Nexus. Before you install this mod, scroll down underneath the main page description of the mod and look through the weapons that you want to add to your playthrough. Download whatever weapon mod you want, then download the Replacer mod. Once you've downloaded Modern Weapon Replacer All-in-One, a window is going to open asking you what weapons you want to replace. Simply choose the weapon you've installed, which can only be done if you successfully download it, and boom, you just replace your first weapon. Now, if you ever want to replace more weapons in Fallout 4, you can always reinstall the mod and it will save the progress of what weapons you've already replaced. Thanks to Modern Weapon Replacer All-in-One, your game will feel a lot more like The Last of Us, and overall, this is the perfect mod, especially if you wanted to change up your playstyle. With the new guns added to our playthrough, we can now focus on some more combat mods that we can add to our game. The next mod we'll be taking a look at is a mod called Better Locational Damage. Now, this mod primarily aims to make it so when attacking an enemy in a certain area, it will do more damage than when attacking it in another area. So for example, if you were to headshot an enemy, it would do significantly more damage than a body shot. Not only that, but when hitting an enemy in a certain area, there will also be added effects. For example, if you were to shoot an enemy in the legs, they will have a chance of not being able to run after you hit them there. Overall, this is a really good mod that makes combat a lot more realistic and pairs really well with our next mod being Live Dismemberment. Now, Live Dismemberment is a pretty self-explanatory mod, and basically it allows the player to take off a limb of an enemy in a gunfight when being hit by a certain projectile. With this mod, enemies will no longer be able to just eat a shotgun blast anymore and will have consequences if they rush in for an attack. And overall, this is a really good mod, especially when fighting up against the undead. To wrap things up, our next mod on the list is our last combat related mod, and it is called Realistic Survival Damage. So this mod aims to make it so damage feels a lot more like real life, and you can no longer be a bullet sponge in Fallout 4. When in combat, this mod will force you to take fights more seriously and use cover to your advantage, as you can't afford to be hit as much as you could before. But don't worry, this mod also affects enemies too, as they can no longer get hit as many times as before. And overall, if you're like me and play out of survival mode, this mod enhances the experience, especially when paired with the other two combat mods. Okay, enough with the combat mods. In our 14th spot, we have Looted World. Now, this mod is also pretty self-explanatory and makes it so the world feels empty and a lot more rated when looking for useful things. Now, loot is still findable in the world, however it is generally more scarce, making it so you have to make do with what you have more often. To make things more balanced and more realistic, we'll pair this mod with our 15th and final mod being on the list, being Lootable Cars. Now, this mod is also pretty self-explanatory and basically makes it so that you'll have another way to find loot throughout the Commonwealth. Anyways, with all these mods installed, your game will feel more and more like The Last of Us and the ultimate zombie game. If you've played or watched The Last of Us, feel free to leave what you thought about it in the comments below, and I'd love to see what you guys thought about it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.